This is what he's asking.
Who was running it temporarily?
Who's occupying Gaza?
Egypt was running Gaza, and Jordan was running West Bank.
So in the map, you don't see that.
Habibi, it's running it. It doesn't mean it owns it. It was never part of it. Show me an Egyptian map where Gaza's part of it. I dare you. Show me today, if you are a true, genuine human being, show me a map of Egypt that includes Gaza, if what you're saying is true.
What do you mean? It's historical.
You are claiming that Gaza was occupied by Egypt and was part of Egypt.
Just find a map.
Show me a map of Egypt where it includes Gaza.
You will
fail.
I'll get you a map. I'll get you a map.
You will fail. Okay. So
meanwhile, by the time that Khumalo is giving you, let Alex speak, please.
You prove nothing. You prove completely nothing. You're talking about a state without. You talk about people without a state, and the neighbor was running the show. And guess what?
Mashiach, I don't think that you come here to discuss.
Why don't you listen to the answer?
I would like to switch to Kay for a second, okay? Kay, are you here?
Kay. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, you sound better now. You wanna share your point of view about anything? Because I was there in the other room for 7 minutes, and I mostly heard you very emotional, and now you more composed, and maybe you wanna chime in.
Yeah, I think anyone would be emotional. The context was, the question that was being asked was, does a child
could have
who
been
was
me,
born and raised in wartime, right, if he chucks or throws a stone at the opposition, is he worthy of capital punishment? And that answer was not answered with a knee-jerk reaction, which is what all of us
me, but Vlad
want
keeps kicking
from
me
all
out.
humanity. If I see my brother suffering, I'm not going to ask him, are you pagan? Are you Jew? Are you Christian? Are you Muslim before I help you?
Of course not. But you remember what Khumalo answered you? Because
Khumalo hesitated for many minutes, and he started.
I was there in the room, Kay. Unfortunately, and he didn't hesitate.
I listened to it. I'll let you go ahead. I listened, and that's why I popped off.
No, so they were not making arguments for anything other than how are we going to get rich.
It's like literally part of like the mechanisms of like how Bitcoin was built. It's built to attract people that want to get rich. Like that's the whole point.
Rico, I bet you.
Go ahead, Sid.
I was just gonna. I don't mean to interrupt your fascinating Bitcoin, theorizations.
Is he condescending? Is that condescending? A little bit.
Rico, I bet you anything that people really think that that's you in your PTR. I've seen that picture on the internet already, but I guarantee you, people on this app will be like, "Is that Rico? Is that Rico and what's her face? Is that Rico and what's her face?"
100%.
Yeah, I guarantee you that. I bet you this is what caused the fallout. You posted this pic and people thought you were posting personal photos, and it turns out you were just posting a meme.
Well, no, Zen, what happened is, obviously their bedroom difficulties, and then she caught him looking at pictures like this, and she's like, all right, a woman can only take so much.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm saying, Zen, did you want to say something about Bitcoin? I just want to point that out at the top.
No, I mean, I own a little bit of coin, a little bit of bit, but, it doesn't matter. I'm being sued for $300,000. Can Bitcoin help me get rid of the judges and lawyers deconstructing my life?
Whoa. Well, who's suing you for $300,000?
Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation and this law firm downtown.
Why are they suing you though? Did you not pay like your mortgage or what?
Yeah, I abandoned ship when Obama destroyed the account. Well, when the banks flopped in '08 and my house went upside down, I lost all my money, had a nervous breakdown.
opportunity, could you please just turn off the troll? The troll. I know it's coming. Could you just give me a couple of minutes to speak to Zen Tao, John Kittover, without anything else? Like, if this could be beneficial. Let's talk about this.
There's no point. I've already gone into this in detail on this
You're
app.
having with me. You don't need to be disrespectful to me.
I'm not being disrespectful to you.
It is disrespectful. I'm not you don't want to go into it.
No, I can't. It doesn't make a difference. I don't want to do a Q&A. I'll just quickly tell you the dilemma. I mean, I'm being sued by Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation and this law firm downtown. I think the case is today. It's not like they send you an email update. I'm doing this pro se. So I got to figure out if the case is today so I can be present so they don't try to sneak something in without me hearing it. But anyways, yeah. So
You're such a Jew. You're such a Jew. Can you just forget the part where you're a victim and let's talk about the nuts and bolts? Like, let's go back to the actual point where you own a home. You
yeah.
have a mortgage on this home. Okay,
Yeah.
Where did you buy the home?
08, March of 08.
So in March of 08, this is probably the worst time to buy a home. Second worst
Yeah.
time to buy a home. The worst time being now.
Yep.
So you buy a home. What's the cost of the home?
$645,000, and I put down 20%. I gave them my life savings for I was in a manic episode. I just came out
I
of.
had to set the victimhood aside, didn't I?
I can't help it.
Go ahead and get your victimhood out right now. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Hello? 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 Okay, my victimhood is out. It's out of the system now. I shook it from my ganglions, my dandelions. I think Diogenes is doing something. Diogenes, hello? Hello? Hello, I asked for ketchup. I asked for ketchup, and you didn't put none in the bag. I asked you 3 times. What the fuck? Yeah, I said ketchup. God damn.
Shut the hell up, Rico, you white bitch!
It's so hard to find good help nowadays. That's why we gotta let them all through the border, because nobody can do their job right. We need them, and they need us.
John, I know that you've proposed the idea that Bitcoin is like a CIA project, but like hearing Putin speak the other night, it actually made sense that like he was speaking like a Bitcoiner. It made sense that like the FSB maybe even created it to disrupt the U.S. financial system, which it's doing.
No way.
I think that's way more plausible than the CIA.
That's because you drink the Kool-Aid. I mean, I drink the Kool-Aid too, but on this one, what I have seen in terms of this one video, this one guy saying, yeah, the CIA Incutel called me and said, have you heard of crypto coin or Bitcoin? Like, it's not... See, this is the thing, is people don't realize that there's hundreds of thousands of people and tens of billions of dollars that go into the government. What do these people do? They create product. What do you think Bitcoin is? It's a goddamn product. And the whole Satoshi thing, the Red Dragon, that whatever they put in the code, that says Red Dragon, if you figure out what Red Dragon is in terms of Japanese culture and all this shit, it's a fucking government cryptology project about, financialization. I mean, it is what it is. Like, look at Sam Bankman-Fried. I mean, give me a break.
But he was like a shitcoiner. He ran a shitcoin casino. Like he's an exchange owner that like was basically run like a scam artist.
I get that, but what I'm saying is, the fact that these billionaires appear out of thin air, like as if something, a lot of people on this app will get furious when you say something can be created from nothing, and that's exactly what happened. That was the thing about Bitcoin. When it was like, oh, there's another millionaire, there's another millionaire, there's another millionaire. It's like, what? Is this an illusion? Yes, this is a hypnosis. This is a propaganda. I mean, yeah, some people may have made nice returns, but I mean, you can also go to the stock market and make great returns on stock options, and even more so than in crypto coins. It's all, if it's not a pump or a dump or a scheme or a scam, how the fuck are you gonna make any money? There's no margin.
That's right. I don't know anything about options though. I mean, I know Black Scholes, but I don't know how to like implement it, use it in like a practical sense.
Well, if you want to get on crack and start gambling, you need to start trading options. There is no other alternative. It is the biggest shit show in the world where you can walk out with 33,000 times your initial investment. I mean, imagine putting in $10 and now you've got $30,000 or $300,000. Like, that's crazy money. Could you imagine?
That can't happen. There's like that's too good to be true.
It does. Look at Nvidia. Look at
on a regular basis.
fucking A, on a somewhat regular basis, there are massive movements in the options market, which are so profound and so huge. There's no other drug as big as the options market. It's just a fact. You have people that can turn a couple $100 into $1 million, you know, in their brokerage account. You can see it in their Robinhood account.
John works for
Is that-
CBOE firms.
You bought a $600,000 home.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2008, you bought a $600,000 home. That's probably like a $400,000 or $500,000 home at best before prices get inflated. And then you got it was a 30-year fixed.
Yeah.
Okay, 30-year fixed. What's the interest rate?
I think it was like 5.5.
Wow. Okay, so 5.5. Got it.
Don't forget, property taxes are only running $1,200 a month at that time,
Yeah.
and and homeowners insurance.
Year.
No,
Yeah, Chicago
no.
is property
Like I
tax.
said, $1,200 a month. It's over $10,000 a year in property taxes on a $645,000 house.
Yeah,
What?
Chicago is stupid property taxes.
This was in Chicago?
Yeah. Well, Lincoln, a town
That
called
makes-
Lincolnwood.
You're serious about that? That's your monthly tax payment is
My monthly payment with property taxes was $5,300 a month on a $645,000 house with 20% down.
okay. So you went upside down like less than a year after you bought it.
Yeah. Why do you think I'm bald? Why do you think I'm bald? I'm not making this up. I had a full head of hair when I started all this. After
Why
all
did
this,
you buy this?
because I love marijuana and I wanted to start a grow house.
And you thought you were going to sell it.
I thought that I was going to sell it to my tenant who was using it to grow marijuana and pay me $10,000 a month. It turns out that the state police and his expurgation, his throwing away, he was not a military man. Let me just put it that way. He wasn't running a covert operation. He was a stoner who didn't know his left foot from his right foot, and he fucked me over, and I lost everything.
Okay, I don't understand why you've spent so much time trolling people and you have these really interesting stories you could be telling that we could all be learning from.
There's nothing to tell you. These judges are taking a piece of my ass. They're going to garnish my wages, bring me down to minimum wage, and I won't be able to pay my bills or live my life. They've taken all the joy. They've sucked the joy out of my life.
You know you're worth it. Yeah, I love this. This is great. Tell me more. Okay.
I've been photographing the judge, the attorney. I've been live streaming them. I will be running against the judge in his judgeship. It is a political position, and once I become the judge of his court, I will simply make my case go away.
I love it. Okay. Well, let me understand more about your case. So you bought this house because you were in a partnership with someone planning to create a grow house?
I was not involved in a criminal conspiracy to manufacture narcotics. That is a baseless Lashon Hara gossip. I was merely demonstrating the fact that it would have been possible back then, pre-dispensary, to start a grow operation that could have been profitable.
Okay.
Do you have to pass the bar to become a judge or no?
No, you can be no. You can be anybody. A former police officer here in Chicago is running for the judgeship, and he has
That's
two.
amazing.
Yeah, he's got like major complaints against him for intimidation and violence and murder and all this shit, and he's running for judge.
If I was ever like a retired 55, 60-year-old guy, I would just become like a judge and just make society like this basis I want it to be. I would just throw out all the cases I don't like.
Yeah, that's the way it works. It's so subjective and personal that this is the problem with lawyers and judges and the whole legal political industrial complex is that it's political. When you go to court, you should get justice. You should get compensation.
Hold on. You're about to launch off into an unhelpful tirade when you have so much information that we could be collecting from you here. So imagine that this story you made up in your fever dream is real. That you know.
It was a dream.
So you defaulted on the home. When did you stop making payments?
God, maybe 2 years before the foreclosure. So 2016, I think I stopped making. No, 2012, maybe I stopped making payments. Let's just say.
So you were making payments up till 2012.
2013, yeah. So 5 years of payments. So listen to this. I put over $250,000 into the house just in payments, $150,000 as a down payment, and now they're trying to collect $300,000. So that means if they collect all this money, I will have paid off the house 100% and have never even lived in it, and I don't even own it. It was the most expensive rental property I've ever been involved in.
So understand when I tell you that usury is the greatest sin, and we must hang bankers by the neck until dead.
100%. They don't get it.
Well,
do you get it, Zen? Do you get it?
See, there can be moral people in the banking industry who are not thieves or criminals.
If you understand compound interest, you understand that is immoral.
What, based on Sharia law?
No, not based on Sharia law, just based on the idea that value can be created, money can create money.
Okay. You think you think interest itself as a concept? I mean, what I don't understand is anyone is free
Here's
to.
Where it becomes problematic. Here's where it becomes a bottleneck, right? Okay. So when all the goods and services that you have access to can only be purchased with a denomination that is artificially inflated and restricted.
Yeah.
It's not just a problem. It is literally a tool to expropriate all value from a population.
Yeah, it's communism. It's socialism. It's Marxism. This is what they say about Karl Marx is, I guess in his writings at some point, he says the appropriation or the redistribution of, the retained earnings of the savings of the society, that is the end goal of communism or Marxism, and that is what the Federal Reserve is doing. The Federal Reserve, since for 100 years, has devalued us to 1/100th of where we were at. So that's why I believe every American born in this country should actually be born with about a $200,000 to about a $400,000 retained savings earnings per human, per American. Instead, it's the exact opposite because of what this government and what we have allowed this Federal Reserve to do to we the people.
Right. So look, without getting lost in the weeds here, you have to understand there is a point where it is necessary and appropriate to create a scaffold or a superstructure upon which you will establish innocence or guilt or the extent of guilt and then mete out sentences. Now, the basis for me is very extreme. If you have engaged in the lending of money at interest, you are guilty. Rent seeking will be put to an end. You should not be able to earn more doing nothing than someone does going to work every day. Any evidence of that is a clear sign of a fundamentally broken economy, a fundamentally broken wealth distribution mechanism. People have hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars that sit in a bank account. They do literally nothing but move that back and forth, and they earn more than law-abiding citizens who have done nothing wrong their entire lives but work hard. The worst thing they've done is gotten drunk, went to a bar, so that's a fundamentally broken system. And you have to ask, look, I'm not opposed to wealth. I'm not opposed to people having wealth. I think that people should be able to obtain wealth through saving. But there should not be a mechanism, or unless that mechanism has a someone.
matrix?
That's so stupid. That's profoundly stupid. A child would understand that that is stupid. And see, what would typically happen is a child would refuse to play in this system. But because the government has the monopoly on violence, as well as the monopoly on the issuance of money and the collection of taxes, we don't have an option but to play. So we can't say, hey, we're not going to play this game, because then we'll lose everything that we have. But if you imagine a child understanding this, the child would not play. The child would say, I don't want to play a game where you get to accrue everything for yourself. This isn't fair.
That's why Bitcoin is the idea for sure is so tempting, totally decentralized. And if power corrupts and centralization is power, then something like Bitcoin is. You see why that's appealing.
So again, I completely understand the appeal of Bitcoin, Jack. I was always in on Bitcoin, but I don't think you really understand a lot about Bitcoin beyond decentralized and so on and so forth. Boomer, as much as I'm trying to say, if you look into Bitcoin, you're going to find out that you don't care about Bitcoin Cash, which is evidence that you don't actually care about decentralization as much as you know about some. I mean, you need to educate yourself. I'm trying to
No,
say.
I ran a Bitcoin.
People
I know a lot about Bitcoin.
Or with productivity being more closely aligned with wealth accrual, they just want to fucking get rich, and they're just hoping they can continue to do it the easy way.
Dude, I've helped. I haven't contributed myself, but I've helped contribute to Bitcoin source code. As a team, I know a lot about Bitcoin. I know enough.
Okay. You understand why Bitcoin is going to fail?
No, I don't. It's just numbers at the end. It's just numbers. Why do you think it's going to fail?
It's going to fail because people like Thomas have no idea how little liquidity, how illiquid it actually is, and when they try.
Very illiquid. Yeah, it takes a long time just to. Yeah, you're never going to buy a pack of gum with Bitcoin.
No, what I mean is not just. Well, that's a great component or facet of its illiquidity, but that's a really great point. The liquidity I'm talking about is the actual currency that matters, right? Because people don't want Bitcoin when they these people who are flexing their Bitcoin wealth, right? They're not typically buying these assets from the state. The state doesn't accept Bitcoin, right? The mortgage companies don't accept Bitcoin.
It's like a gold bars. It's like, what are you going to do with gold bars? Well, I'm just going to, store them here. I can maybe borrow against them. I can, with some effort, I can go and maybe, shave off a little bit of it, weigh it. And so I'm not going to buy any gum with Bitcoin, or even, I might buy an expensive car, or tuition, but yeah, I'm not going to, transact in it, right?
When the majority of Bitcoin holders see the Bitcoin valuation, right? Hold on. So when the majority of Bitcoin holders, hold on, Jack. When the majority of Bitcoin holders have some event happens and they try to actually take their money out, they'll realize that it is a Ponzi.
That's true. If Coinbase goes down, remember Mt. Gox went down. But yeah, most people don't actually have their keys. But I have keys where you can go to a website and you unplug. You go to the website first. You unplug your computer. You turn off your Wi-Fi. Unplug your Ethernet, and you can move your mouse around in such a way that it makes a random number. You write that on a piece of paper. You write that number on it, and it's a very long, alphanumeric, sequence of alphanumeric.
Right, you're describing ways to create unique keys.
No, but if you lose that piece of paper, and that happens all the time, then you have actually, totally unrecoverable wealth forever.
Well, that's not true. That's predicated on the belief that we will never crack SHA 256, but we can set that aside.
Quantum computing, it's sort of quantum quantum computing would be, that's going to be, I don't know what that's going to be a big event.
Well, the question you asked is, do I know, why Bitcoin is going to fail? And I do. It's going to fail because greed. Because greedy little bastards who want to be rich more than they want to protect the integrity of a decentralized medium of exchange. And they've already chosen, they've already shown you who they are. People like Jack Dorsey, he sat in a Super Bowl booth wearing a Bitcoin shirt that said Satoshi on it. He actively worked with other individuals, a mafia within the Bitcoin or crypto space, to ensure that miners and a select group of individuals were allowed to continue enriching themselves at the expense of the network's integrity and usability. They promulgated the idea of layer 2 solutions, which is completely preposterous, much in the same way that we see politics coming completely off the rails, forgetting what it means to be constitutionally limited in any meaningful way. You have these people who claim to be proponents of decentralized finance who are actively supporting its centralization. And that ignorance, that blindness brought about by their greed, has already undone Bitcoin. It has blinded them to Tether's involvement and the overall perception of the value of each of their crypto tokens. If there ever is an event, some kind of cyber attack, some kind of serious threat to the network, if the Houthis or the Houthis or however you'd like to pronounce them, I wish David was here, he could tell me, if they ever sever some of those transatlantic network cables, you will find that these people suddenly realize that they need to get real assets. They need gold, silver, bullets, food, and they'll have nothing. If they ever try to take out massive quantities of this coin, they'll find that they have nothing. I think ultimately there's a chance, it's a long shot, but the government might endorse Bitcoin. Not because it's a decentralized peer-to-peer medium of exchange, but because it's not. Right now, Bitcoin functions in a very centralized way, and essentially, as you interact with Bitcoin, everything that you do, every interaction you have, is visible to every other network participant. Now, you might not be able to tie the wallet to the individual, but that's where the government comes in.
Yeah, it is true that there is a non-zero amount of shitcoins are totally run by intelligence agencies. The FUD out there is some of it's natural, some of it is extremely well funded. But it is. I think it's a great idea, and it's covered with barnacles. It's a wild west. It is full of extremely terrible, murderous individuals and murderous organizations. But in the end, at the end of the thing, to me, all those are distractions away from actually getting your real wallet on paper, actually have it. Now, but it's true. Now, if the transatlantic, networks or cables are cut or something, it will render it useless. The thing is, it's like when gold, it's a foundational thing. So when gold is good too, but when gold becomes something
Yes.
And as electricity comes back, I think Bitcoin would go. But if you're in the point where gold, people don't want your gold, they just want your cigarettes and your bullets. Then
Okay, but think about this.
It's a hierarchy of values. What I'm saying is, if we're in the point where we lose electricity,
You're missing the forest for the trees on several fronts. But let's be clear here. ultimately, the people who are holding Bitcoin are doing so, overwhelmingly doing so, because they want to increase in value without any action being taken on their part. Okay, that's exactly the same kind of greedy, rent-seeking behavior that needs to be expunged.
You know, I was in DC. I went to the Spy Museum, and they have an Enigma machine, and that's not when I realized that Bitcoin was, engineered through government funding or InQtel and CIA. But when I saw that Enigma machine, that's when I realized, like, oh, like cryptography, cryptology is not just financial, as in, this peer-to-peer medium of exchange known as Bitcoin or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's a technology project, just like how Enigma machine was a very valuable asset in the war in terms of, coding and decoding. So if people are in denial that InQtel even exists, and they think that, like what Jack just said about all these shit coins and that these people have blood on their hands, well, yeah, it's true. And if you are an investor and you are thinking about your long-term, retirement and savings plan, you're a fool if you put your money in Bitcoin. You would be much better off putting it across 100 different stocks, across, 5 different verticals of industry. That is the diversity everyone needs. You do not need even 1% of some type of, government-funded device technology.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, notice that they don't call CBDC, central bank digital currency. They don't call it crypto. It's just there's so many word games. It is crypto too. So, but crypto is the world of unregulated, non-government stuff.
You can't have a central bank digital currency that doesn't utilize cryptography.
Yeah, of course, but they don't want the word crypto. So, like here, Zen said, hearing about the Enigma and cryptographic and all that. That's most people don't have time to pay attention even to this little word game of calling it digital currency versus cryptocurrency. It's because crypto has a bad connotation. It's just word games. But yeah, CBDC is 100% government-controlled crypto. The worst thing about CBDC, other than tracking your every single move, is the fact it will have it will have expirations in it. So they're going to send out. The thing about the stimulus is they want people to spend the money, but a lot of people save it. But they'll give us money, $300, bucks simulation that has to be spent in 60 days. And that, talk about juicing and controlling the economy was total centralization. That is a centralization that the Mao or anybody like that had never dreamed of.
Yeah.
Understand, all of that is enabled by Bitcoin. All of that is enabled by Bitcoin.
No, it's not Bitcoin.
The government could very readily pivot to supporting Bitcoin, and it would be worse than cash.
Well, Jack, hold on, Jack. The government could issue prepaid debit cards. What's the difference? They cancel the debit cards after 90 days if you don't spend the money. What's the difference?
No, the government has trouble getting the government has trouble getting access to without being stealthy, without getting all your credit and bank details. And here's another thing: is a lot of the money created is created in the euro dollar system. So it's not just a national thing and a way to replace inflation with expiring currency. It's a way to control the dollars created around the world.
Yeah.
So,
Jack, Jack, the Federal Reserve window during the pandemic, the chairman of the board, Jerome Powell, I had all these videos. YouTube deleted a couple of my accounts. My point is that my point is that how the fuck does the United States Federal Reserve parody the Federal Reserve or, the European banking system? How the fuck do they keep a parity? And how is the Forex market in parity? I fail to see how the fuck we the dollar to the other currencies when we're 35 trillion in debt. How the fuck is it possible that they can still peg the dollar like this? I know it's the reserve, but nonetheless, how does shit roll downhill? I don't see shit rolling downhill.
Well, you're have to believe that there's some kind. Ultimately, then you shouldn't ever trust anything you can't audit. Right? That's one of the profound bases for Bitcoin, for crypto in the beginning, was that it should be something you can audit. We have no idea where money is, where money's going, where money's coming from. We really don't. The information that's promulgated by the Federal Reserve, banks, that's issued by the Treasury, that's all specious. So, whatever's happening in the Forex markets, I've seen theories that I think people, the actual price of oil is, actually related to gold. It's gold plus X, where X is, some other I mean, there's no shortage of ways you could conceive of this happening.
Well, look at it this way. There is so much dead money in the system. That's one of the reasons why the system still exists, because the generational wealth transfer and the dead money sitting at banks. These banks are zombie organizations. Like you just said, if you can't audit an organization or audit an accounting trail, basically what that is extremism, fascism, terrorism, whatever. But
right, and what happened to you then? Take your own personal example, where you can look at the total amount of monies that you spent. As you're telling the truth, you spent more. You have personally been responsible for transferring more money than the house was worth to other entities, and you don't own a single goddamn thing.
And this is the crazy thing is, they're trying to collect $300,000 from me right now.
Now, is the issue are there criminal charges that are
No,
involved in this?
no, of course not. This is strictly
You say of
debt.
course not, but I've heard of scenarios where there's some kind of criminal charges that complicate the issue.
There's all kinds of issues that can arise. It's a question of, is there somebody, with a pencil behind a desk trying to make an issue out of something? That's what it is. And basically, America, I guess the whole thing has to do with the Federal Reserve Act and Jekyll Island, and why, the founders were essentially completely derailed. And isn't that the whole argument with Jackson and Thomas Jefferson, or I can't remember the other, the James Adams movie, Hamilton, exactly, Hamilton. And why do you think we have that stupid Hamilton, Broadway musical with the misinformation in there?
To celebrate and venerate, exactly, to celebrate and venerate, and to, by proxy, demonize Andrew Jackson and No Bank. Ultimately, Andrew Jackson was the best president the United States ever had. Fundamentally, he fought several duels. He got shots, different times. He was the hero of New Orleans. The man understood what it took to make this nation great, and he understood exactly how the nation was being pilfered, how our productivity was being stolen and misdirected to enrich banking interests like Nicholas Bill and his cronies, who were involved in things ultimately like the Federal Reserve Act to create a central bank in the United States. And Adolf Hitler was absolutely right with his economists in concluding that a nation should never owe itself a single goddamn thing. Why do a people come together and work together at all? It is so that they, through their combined efforts, might create a store against the future, that they might, greater than the sum of their parts, achieve leisure and celebration of arts and beauty, so that they would not toil every day constantly just to feed themselves, so that they can shape the earth to benefit themselves. And why would that ever come at a cost? When a man goes out naked and alone into the wilderness, and he fashions for himself a coat, he fashions for himself a shelter, has he not, through his productivity, mixed with the environment, created something? Now imagine that in order for the man to go out and do that, he must first take a loan for the property on which he would build his shelter. This is the preposterous notion that was completely abolished by Nazi Germany.
Let me add one thing too, is not to diminish all of that, which is all true. There's natural things happen that are catastrophic. For example, illegal and legal immigration, automation, productivity is skyrocketed, and women in the workforce has doubled the workforce. I'm not saying it's good or bad; it's doubled it. So that has increased the number of laborers, skilled and unskilled, has skyrocketed. So now if you're a laborer or skilled, the value of your value is just by the law of supply and demand, just not going to be the same.
Jack, let me abuse you for a moment here. Were you here when I gave the example of an economy where a child would recognize he was being cheated and he would take his ball and go home?
No.
So let me just go uninterrupted. So economic conditions are fundamentally unfair. It is a system where people at the top have created a mechanism where before we were even born into this world, they were expropriating wealth without providing goods or services to the economy, generating wealth solely because they have it already. A fundamentally fraudulent system that I was born into, that you were probably born into. I of course haven't done the work to identify the exact date.
Wait, you wanted to go uninterrupted, right? You sound like the Federal
Yes.
Reserve.
Okay. So a child would recognize that this system was unfair. Imagine a bunch of kids in recess, and one of the kids says, well, you guys all have to, we're going to play this game, and you all have to give me 1/10 of everything that you have. Well, the kids are going to say, you have everything and we have nothing, and they're going to stop playing. They're going to just ignore that kid and play a different game that they find more equitable and more entertaining. In this way, women entering the workforce has fundamentally disabled our ability to meaningfully resist. Now, it isn't to say that we don't live in the wealthiest nation on earth. Through fraud or whatever means we've come by it, we do.
We're the wealthiest shanty town in all the shanty towns.
Here's the important thing. Is if a nation is prosperous, should not all those in the nation benefit from its prosperity, and do so with an equal measure to their productivity, an equal measure to their commitment, to their investment? What is happening when women enter the workforce is women are consensus making machines. They are hyper-conformists, and a woman is not going to say, I don't want to play this game, I don't like this game, and walk away. A woman is not going to put her foot down and
America, are they not allowed to be American?
But hold on a second, Doc. I'm just trying to follow Midas. So Midas, do you believe that blacks in this country, they are descendants from the Indians? Can you just clarify?
No, we were just here in America. The same way whites were just in Europe. I don't know how whites got to Europe.
Okay.
We were in America.
Midas, you think Africans were in America in the 1600s, 1700s?
We're not Africans.
Well, what are you?
I think it was a confusion with the phenotype, right, Midas? There were people of lighter skin, people of darker skin, but they called them red first.
I see. Okay.
Were classified as Negroid first, and then everyone had an invested interest.
I'm just saying.
Those people
I get it. I'm just saying that the African slave trade, the Caribbean or the Atlantic slave trade thing, seems to be the primary reason why black Africans are in the United States of America. But I get what you're saying. I've never heard it said that way, but that's
they have to classify them as Negroid first, and then reclassify them as
But
Africans.
let's say that's true. If that's true, though.
Some of us, and it is just a small group of us, right? Because so many Africans have still been coming over.
I get it, but if that's true, what does that mean politically?
I ain't gonna talk that much, dude. And I don't talk to kids.
Whatever, I'll just leave your room. Goodbye. Have a great day. Take care. Farewell. Bye-bye. There he goes. Ta-ta. Bye-bye.
There's some of us
Goodbye.
who love this land.
Shalai-lai,
Let her finish, man. Let her fucking
Zen said he was about to leave. Why you ain't leave yet?
Oh, I've been here forever. You didn't know? My people have been in these lands forever now. I've been on Clubhouse forever, you guys. There is no African. I was always here. I was always here.
Palestinians today just want a state for themselves.
them accept a two-state solution. Egyptians accept a two-state solution. Jordanians, Saudi, Emirati, Moroccan. Actually, 57 Muslim countries accept a two-state solution.
Okay.
They're all
Okay.
Zionists.
I asked you about the Palestinians with Arafat in '64. Which no. Okay, let's talk about
About killing
better every year.
guys.
Rerunning is not the idea.
Yeah. Okay. Now we have the Haniya, who is the leader of Hamas. He tell on TV that we can temporarily for a little time we can accept the two-state solutions, and after we will destroy Israel. That's Haniya tell on the TV. Do you know it?
Habibi,
I can say that
nobody wants to go to war. People naturally just want to fucking do business.
No.
They want to You have a problem with India. That's another thing.
Generation. I tell you. Okay, we have a new Palestinian people. This is the Hamas.
Habibi, Hamas is only getting stronger because of Netanyahu. Netanyahu put them in power. Let's forget Hamas for a second.
But so if you're saying that Hamas is getting stronger, and I'm sure that you read the Hamas charter, so why are you talking
And I
about
read that the charter too. Likud says from the river to the sea, they're the first one.
But the Likud,
Are you going to ignore that?
I will tell you, hold on, Mashiach, hold on. You said that the Palestinians are pro two-state solution. You're saying that the Hamas is getting stronger. The Hamas charter is very clear about it, that they are not interested in two-state solution. So how do you want to have a two-state solution?
No.
No, I read the charter of, you're talking about the one from 2017. I read
We're going to read the Likud charter as well.
You can go read the Likud charter.
Read the extremist charters, and then we stop having people.
Go ahead, read the Likud charter. Go read the Likud charter.
Extremists, or should we listen
Yes.
to the same people? Who should we
No, I will tell you. You ask a question, I will answer you. You ask a question, I will answer you. There's a big difference between Hamas and the Likud. Huge difference. First, the Likud charter was written in 1977, okay? 46 years ago. And the Likud is one party that has maybe a quarter of the parliament. Hamas charter, the latest one, was written in 2017, okay? And he is the sole governor of Gaza.
The Likud,
Huge
my
difference.
friend, they're still the same mentality. They're still stuck in their ideology. What are
You
you
know what? I would say,
what Likud thinks about?
Mashiach, listen to me again. I will repeat it
You said
again,
you're from the
okay?
left side. You said you're from the left side.
Mashiach, I will repeat it again until you will understand and you will not deflect. One, the Likud charter was written in 1977, okay? 1977. If you go to the Likud website, you will not find it there. The only way that you guys are talking about, because you dug it up from someplace, no one knows about it, okay? No one cares, because no one from the Likud back then still exists. And the Likud that Netanyahu has doesn't have a charter. This is one thing. The second thing that you are ignoring,
Daniel, be honest. What do you
hold on. And the second thing is that we, Israel, we have a parliament, and the parliament has 120 parliament members, okay? So even if you have like a radical terrorist like Itamar Ben-Gvir, it doesn't change, he cannot do whatever he wants. You know what, even if Bibi wants tomorrow to do something, you probably heard that Bibi, and you know, he has a majority, he has 64 seats out of 120. And he wanted to make changes in our judicial system. You probably heard about it, you know? And we, the people, we said no. And what happened in the end? He couldn't do it. He's not a tyrant, okay? So putting a democracy and comparing it to a
Not a tyrant. Oh, people are going
and he's like, there's no equivalence. And you